I don't know. Just feel like I start all the videos the same way, so figured I'd mix it up. We got another project for you. Let's do it. Alright guys, so here's what we got tonight. So this is the next chapter in the drill pipe fence that we posted a video, I don't know, 3 or 4 videos ago. So what we got to do is build the large gate. So this gate's going to have a wheel on it, and this one's going to be built out of 2-inch Schedule 40 pipe instead of drill pipe. So we're going to go ahead and start cutting these parts. We are going to 45 the corners, and then we will have to cope that lower rail. I am going to ask the customer if they want me to put some sort of, I don't know, their last name or a design or whatever in this spot right here. So we'll see what they say. But that's what we got going tonight. We're going to start cutting parts, and then we'll get over to the table and we'll give you guys a look. Let's do it. Alright guys, so I ended up picking up some more steel today, more 2-inch pipe. So I was able to cut the 2 upright pieces. I haven't cut the middle section that gets coped yet. I'm going to wait until the frame is completely built, and then we'll be able to slide that one in. So we're going to go ahead and start cleaning all these parts up and getting them beveled and get them prepped up to fit. So I've got the other 2 long ones sitting on the floor right there. So it's basically the same process as the man gate. 45 on all 4 corners. We're going to go ahead and bevel them, fit them up, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so we got our hinges slid down the end piece here. You see these are all beveled and tacked up. I think I want to get that top rail piece in here, so I'm going to probably go cut that right now. We'll get that coped, and then after we get that coped and put in down on this end, our wheel is going to have to go on the corner here. And you can see I don't have it cut. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. So now that you guys are up to speed, I'm going to go over to the saw and I'm going to cut that next piece of pipe. We'll bring it over here and I'll show you guys how I'm going to cope it. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and cope this. This time we've got a little tool we're going to use. So what I've done is I took my ID measurement on the gate. And then after I had my ID measurement, I took my tape and measured what the throat was on this cope. It's 3/4 of an inch. Times 2, that's 1.5 inches, so I added that to my length. So I'll take the end of this little jig and I'll match it up flush with the end of the pipe. And these do have magnets on them. So now that we're flush to the end of the pipe, I'm going to take my soapstone. So I'll mark that, and then I'm going to cut it with the torch. I might have to feather the inside just a little bit with a grinder, but I'm hoping that that's going to be just right. So we'll see how it works out. I'm hoping these save a bunch of time.
It's time for today's super cool tool.
Alright guys, so for today's super cool tool, we're going to be talking about these magnetic Pipe Pro cutting guides. This is something that I just recently purchased because I knew that I was going to need them for this project specifically. And they'll also come in handy in the future. There's actually been multiple times where they would have come in handy before. It just so happened that I was at the welding store. They had a set there, and they very rarely do have a set on the shelf. So I thought, you know what? You got to make hay while the sun shines, so I went ahead and bought them. What this set comes with is 3 different sizes of these magnetic pipe cutting guides, and there's some stuff written on them. So this is 1 7/8, this is 2 3/8, this is 2 7/8. This 2 7/8 cutting guide is meant for the drill pipe that we were using to fabricate our man gate. The 2 3/8 is for regular 2-inch pipe, and it snaps on there just nice and neat like that. It is magnetic, so it stays tight on there. If you look, it's got all of the different angles that you may need while you're fitting pipe. So there's a 22.5 degree angle. There is a 45 degree angle. At the top of the cutting guide, you can see that there is a guide for coping the pipe. And then you can just take your soapstone and mark it. Pop that off, cut that with your torch, and you're good to go. So far, I've been pretty impressed with them. They seem to work fairly well. They seem like they are accurate. If you look at how that fits on that pipe, it'll give you a nice tight cope and a nice tight fit when you go to weld the pipe up. This is something that I'm sure you guys are going to see us use in the future. These are a tool that's going to save you a lot of time when you're fitting pipe. And for you guys that are doing fencing and stuff like that, I would highly recommend getting a set because they will save you time. I like that they're rigid and they snap right on. I like that they're magnetic, and I like that they have all of the appropriate angles on them so that you have everything you need there to do pretty much any sort of fitment on pipe. And I like that you get all 3 sizes. So that should cover pretty much all your small bore pipe when you're fitting. I did spend $40 on this set. I didn't think that was unreasonable. I will try to leave a link in the description for this set if you're interested. This is the same set that I almost bought on Amazon, but I just so happened to be at the welding supply store and I saw them on the shelf, so I decided to get them there. So check out this set. This is one of those tools that you're probably not going to use all the time, but when you need it and you want to try to be as efficient as possible, this is definitely going to help you out. It is one of those investments that I think if you take care of it, you'd have for a long, long time. It's going to save you time, and time is money. So check them out. Get yourself a set of Pipe Pro cutting guides and make yourself faster while you're fitting pipe. It takes the guesswork out of having to do the math on a lot of this small bore pipe when you're fitting things like fence and stuff like that. Let's get back to the project. Fire in the hole. Sometimes it takes a minute for the oxygen to get there. So that one went a little rough because I had the acetylene up too high. So you can see how crappy the first cut was, how it kind of welded it back together. That means you're running too hot. This cut was a lot better. You can see it's nice and clean. The other trick you can do is on thin material, you can kind of tip the torch and you can kind of cut into it. So if you tip the torch away from it so that you're directing the cone of the torch into the material, that helps give it that nice smooth cut on thinner material. But that one right there, whew, that's a dandy. So I'm going to knock that off with a hammer and then clean this up with the grinder and see how it fits. Okay, it's good. That's one side. So I'm going to flip this around, do the same thing to that side, and then we'll check, see if it fits. Just goes to show, first one's always the worst one. That one turned out a lot better. Clean that up a little bit with the grinder and then we'll check the fit. Turned out good. So now we're going to slide it in here and see how it fits. Sometimes you gotta know when to quit. Okay guys, we're back out here today and I'll show you guys what I've done. So that end down there is right, the cope is right lined up in the pipe. Come down here, oh, what have we here? So, I didn't line up my copes. I got in such a hurry, I wasn't thinking, and I didn't line up my copes, so this one's off. So what I'm gonna do now, put the pipe wrap on here. I'm going to cut this, I'm going to rotate it where it needs to go, and I'll weld it back out and I'll buff that off. This is going to be a gate and the customer wants it rusty anyway, so that's going to end up working out in our favor on this one. We'll go ahead and fix that now. Once I get that fixed, we'll take another look. Alright, so here's what I should have done in the beginning to avoid having to cut this and fix it. It's just how I like to do it. Should have taken this piece of pipe with level. So I just snap this piece of pipe into the cope. It's nice and solid. Check it for level. It's good and level. So I know that that is level to our cope. Now I'm going to go to the other end with my centering head, level it up, smack it, and then work off that center pop. That way I know that both these copes are exactly in line. Not so much like this or this, but this. That's what we're looking for. Alright, so I've done the same thing to this. I put it in the vise, I leveled this cope, put a center pop on this end. That way, when I put these together, I can line up my two center pop marks, and then I know that they're in line. Now I'm going to take this little baby and use it to help me line that up. So that should help keep it nice and square. I really don't want to have it be all cockeyed in there. So this is nice and straight. The gap feels good. So I'm going to go ahead and tack this in a couple places and then we'll weld it out. Then we'll go back to where we should have been last night. Alright, so there's the repair. I took some emery cloth after I buffed the high spots off with the flap wheel and then just tried to blend it. There's really no dig marks. Once this starts to rust, you're never going to be able to tell. So one thing about it, when you do screw up, it's practice to get better to fix your screw ups. So you can see I'm really good at fixing them. What does that tell you? Alright, so we got our piece in here. It fits wonderfully. Now, once I get this piece tacked, I'm just going to go to welding, weld all the joints up. Once I get all the joints welded up, I am going to go over and lay out where I want the hinges to be, tack them on, weld them out. I'm going to go ahead and get all that done. We'll go into time-lapse mode and we'll get this all welded out, and then we'll touch base with you after. Alright guys, these are all done. Everything's all welded out here. Hinges spin freely. So what's left to do is we got to cut our brand for the middle. And then I've got to talk to him to see if he's going to get the hog panels so that I can weld it in here. It would be a lot easier versus having to stick weld it there. We also have to deal with where we're going to put the wheel. So I've got to get the wheel first before I know the spacing here and how I want to do that. Still a fair amount of work left to do on this one. I am going to get over on the burn table and I'm going to start working on this brand. Probably going to have to go pick up the wheel for this so that I can get measurements, get that put in. Let's see if we can't get the brand burned, and once I get that figured out, we'll give you guys an update. Alright guys, quick update. We got those parts cut out on the table. I felt like having just the brand in the middle was missing something. So I did find a graphic online, something that I thought would look good, that would go with the brand. So I found this kind of a calligraphy graphic here. So I cut 2 of those out. I am going to weld these on. I'll just stitch weld these. This one is going to be a little tricky because we have the hinge in the way, so I may have to notch this one out. I'll be able to get a tack on here, but I may have to notch this just a little bit. Brand will go in the middle. We'll see if we can't get those stitch welded in, and then we'll go from there. This is pretty much all I can get done for now. So what I've got to do now is I got to get the wheel so that I can modify the front end of that so that the wheel can slide in there. And then I got to get the hog panels from the customer so I can tack those in there. I do have to cut some flat bar here. The post that it's mounting to is crookeder than a politician, so we're going to have to take and custom measure the pieces of flat bar that go top and bottom there and get those welded in. So that's about all I can do tonight, and it's 9 o'clock, so I'm gonna go get some dinner and spend some time with the fam, and we'll get back to you guys when we get the parts we need. What's up guys, we're back after it, so I'll show you where we're at. Customer came over, looked at the gate. They like it so far, but there is a couple of things. He did decide that he wanted to fill in some of this empty space. He wanted a BYU logo here, and his wife is a Utah State fan, so he wants that one here. That'll help fill in the gap. And then the other thing is he was a little worried about, as long as the gate is, that this will sag. So he wants an upright center of the brand right here. The other reason he wants me to do that is those panels, those hog panels, they only come in 16-foot lengths, and this gate is 1611. He's thinking if we put the upright there, and then he wants me to weld some flat bar on the sides of it so that the 16-foot hog panel will be able to cover this gate. I'm going to see if I can get these logos welded on. We'll get those out of the way. Then I'm going to get the upright cut and coped. So once the upright's in and the flat bar stitch welded on, the only thing we can do after that is work on the wheel. That's what we got going tonight. Let's see if we can get it done. I did the exact same process on this one as I did on the cross piece here. So I took my ID measurement and then I added 3/4 of an inch times 2, so I added 1.5 inches because that's what the throat of our cope is here. On this one, I did not use the magnetic jig. I used the iron worker and the pipe coper, and it gives you a perfect, and it's a lot faster and time is money. So that's what I used. The reason I haven't used that on some of the other stuff in the past is because the only size I have right now is 2-inch. Luckily I had this size, so we made it work. Good snug fit. I did check my measurement, it was right on the money. Okay, right there. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to check, measure to make sure both of these are the same measurement. About 98. 98. Okay, so we're good. Okay, so I'm going to put this back on the table, weld it flat, and then while I have it on the table, I'll get my flat bar cut, tack it to both sides, but we're going into warp mode for that. Okay, so I do want to show you guys something. I want to show you why I like using the coper on the iron worker so much. Because it gives you nice, pretty copes. It also makes it easier to weld, in my opinion. And that's because when it copes it, you have a square end here, and then you have an angle here, and an angle here. And so when I weld them out, I start by, I'll tack it right on the corners of the square piece. And then I'll weld this, I'll weld this, and I'll weld this. And it just makes it very fast, very clean, and it looks nice. So you don't have to have an iron worker to run that kind of coper. If you've got a hydraulic press, even if you've got one of those little, I don't know how much force it would require. I really don't think it takes too much. But even if you had like a 5-ton Harbor Freight press, and then you could get this coper, you can actually get just the die and the punch. The quality of the cope is just wanted to throw that out there. So let's get back after it. We'll see if we can get those done. Alright guys, we're back at it tonight. We did pick up a wheel for the gate. We got a bolt for the wheel. I've taken and cut 2 more pieces of pipe. I'm going to cope them both. And then those are going to mount here. I'll cut the opening for the wheel. And then I'm going to cut 2 brackets for the axle. It's just another one of those things that'll make more sense as I go. So we'll go ahead and clean those parts up. I'm going to get them tacked up. I'm going to get them coped, check the fit, and then once I get to that point, I'll give you guys a look. Alright guys, we came over and we drafted up our little brackets. Looking good. Alright, quick pointer for you guys. So I cut these brackets out. The hole that I drafted on my drawing was a 5/8 hole, which is what size our axle bolt is. Problem is, that tip's pretty old, so there's still some kerf there. Doesn't quite go in all the way, and I could grab an end grinder and just ream that out a little bit, but what I like to do is I'll take my punch, my 5/8 punch on my iron worker, and I'll drive it through there. It's just kind of reaming the hole out so that it's exactly 5/8. So that's what we're going to do. And now it fits, and it's nice and snug. It's going to be just fine for an axle for a gate. Alright guys, so here's where we're at. I had them flipped up, but then I couldn't slide the bolt in for the axle. So I decided to turn them up so that I could do that. So it is offset just a little bit, but I don't think it looks bad. I think that's gonna work just fine. I do still have to weld this out. I do have these level. I think that's gonna work out. I don't like how high this is, so I'm probably gonna cut these tacks. I'll have to cut this pipe and recope it, scoot this down to where it just barely is above the wheel. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. There's a lot of work in these gates. We'll see you guys tomorrow. So I want to show you where we're at, and oh my goodness, you will not believe it's a Bridger sighting. I thought we lost him. I really did. I was pretty sure we had a casualty. We lost him to girls
and football
girls and football. So that's why we haven't seen Bridger lately. Girls and football. This is where we're at. It's all ready to get welded out. So now I'm just going to throw it in time lapse. I'll go ahead and weld this out, get that finished. Then we're going to bounce over here. We'll get the flat bar welded in, and then we will be ready to start cutting the hog panels and getting those fit up. Hopefully while we're in time lapse, Bridger doesn't disappear. And we'll get this welded out. Got me a new welding cap. Gotta love a new welding cap. It's like putting on a fresh pair of undies. Gotta love it. Alright, let's do this. Alright guys, so this is where we're at. I went ahead and cut a couple of rectangles here on the burn table, and they are for the hinges here. 3/8 plate. Okay, so 2 pieces of 1/2-inch pipe. I did have to chuck those up in the lathe and ream them out with a 5/8 drill bit. And then I got 5/8 rod. I burned a piece of plate on the burn table. That's gonna go right here, flush with the top of the pipe. And then we'll do the same thing as we did on the last gate, where we'll burn a couple of eyes. That's the plan. So we're gonna go ahead and start piecing this together. It's kind of an arduous, exhausting, long process. So we'll see if we can't get this all tacked up and fit up, and then we'll give you guys another look. Alright guys, got that all welded out. You can see you can still lock it open or closed, so you lift it up, shut it, and then it drops back down and you can lock it closed. So the handle used to be up here. The thing I didn't like about that is when you dropped it, it was a finger smasher unless your fingers were down here. So I ended up cutting it apart, hurried and burned another one of these on the burn table, and now you can see it's still hot. So we're gonna go ahead and get this cleaned off. I'm gonna pick it up with the forklift, take it out and put it on the trailer so it can be out there out of my way until the customer gets his gravel up to grade so that we can come over and install it. And we'll put that on a different video. That's gonna wrap this one up. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate all the support. Our channel's been growing quite a bit lately, and that's thanks to you guys, so we appreciate it. We hope you guys enjoy it and you're getting something out of it. We do want to give a shout out to all the fathers out there, and we just want to tell them Happy Father's Day. Being a father is something that I take very serious, and I do believe that there is currently a war on the family right now. The world needs good fathers. So for all you fathers out there, take it serious. I'm not trying to make this sound like I'm the best father out there, because I'm not. I've got plenty of things that I need to work on. But I do take it serious, and I do think it's something that the world needs to take more serious. Take an opportunity to spend time with your kids. Take an opportunity to teach your kids, discipline your kids, teach your kids manners. All those things that currently the world is struggling with right now. And I don't mean to get on a soapbox, but I do want to say Happy Father's Day. The world needs good fathers. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay guys, I had a request to see under the hood of the new truck, so I'll just give you guys a look here. So right now everything's stock. I have not done anything under the hood. I would say it may or may not stay stock under here. There are a few things. So I'll tell you guys the stats on this year's Duramax. We're currently on an L5P. The current specs for the 2024 are 470 horsepower and 975 foot-pounds of torque. And I do believe that that is lower, just a little bit lower than both Ford and Dodge. So hopefully that's what you guys wanted to see. Just wanted to give you guys a look. Anytime you guys give me a request, I try to fulfill that request. So I will try to knock those out as I get them through the comments. So that's what under the hood looks like of our 2024 Duramax. Alright guys, so here's what we got tonight. This is the next chapter in the pipe fence that I did. So this is the next chapter in the pipe fence. So this is the next chapter in the drill Okay guys, so I ended up going and picking up some more steel. It did definitely save us some time not having to lay out the cope or use some sort of a I can't talk tonight. Let's see if we can't get the burn. Wow. Alright guys, we got our piece of pipe here. I did it just the same as I did it. Alright guys, we got our piece of pipe here for the upright. I measured and did the son of a gun. Alright, so now I'm going to see if I can get some flat bar cut, get those stitch welded in, and then I've got a hard for the headwear store. Alright guys, we're back at it tonight. And then it basically just kind of, it basically just kind of smears the hole to where it fits. it's not really cutting because it's already really close to a 5/8 hole. So it's not really cutting. It's just kind of rubbing. I don't even know what to say here. All right, so I